Well, it's time to get ourselves underway. Richter band away, Sephira band away, and immediate Ryoma as well. The blazing of the bands have already become as Nova Esports and GeO enter the band pick.
Florentino, Sephira removed. Elsu still on the cards. Nova have no interest in batting him out, forcing GeO to do so. Removing the teaming instead, GeO lets it through. We're seeing a lot of Elsus today, Daniel, and he'll be in play here.
I'm just loving the speed draft. What is this?
Actually, they're playing on speed chess rules. They've got a clock.
If you ban quickly, you won't miss the ban, I suppose.
Elsu, the immediate lock-in, as we are to be expecting to see for Nova Esports. That leaves a net open and a Liliana, which looks like GeO is going to take away from the mid laner of Nova.
The Elsu, though, gives them formidable range. They just need characters to keep it safe, and maybe some dive on Lycan or another character to finish off the people that the Elsu knocks low.
Also have an opportunity with Kresh being alive,
yes.
but instead it's
no.
going to be a hover, a change, a swap, a filter, Baldum, and now a Zill get locked in
What
for
happened?
Nova.
I thought you loved Baldum.
I mean, yeah, but is Gilder, you know.
You've seen too much Baldum lately? You're sick of him?
Yeah, everyone kind of caught up. I'm no longer ahead of the curve. Am I a hipster?
Maganga. Talanis, Zephys locked in for GeO Esports. Knowing their strategy, both of these teams have gone so fast through the pick ban, which we're not used to seeing from either one of them. They each have a strategy that they're wanting to employ. 8 seconds remaining on the timer.
The Talanas will play well if they're kept safe. The one problem I see for GeO on this aggressive comp is they do not have anyone yet to keep the Talanas safe behind them. They don't have a tank.
Malik and Omen locked in for Nova Esports. The Malik pickup is something that is all too familiar with many players on this roster. We've having spoke to them multiple times. Their thought process is if Malik is open, we're going to take it. But gentlemen, he fell down to the bottom. We saw 2, but there's only 1. Lycan locks in the Superman.
He got his Air Fortress. Daniel must be so happy. This is a composition we did see run successfully, a slight variation during the North American region. And it is, you run a lightweight backline that theoretically should be easy to dive, and then you have a Superman. And the Superman makes up for not having a tank because of the repositioning potential. Now, you need an incredible Superman player to do this.
That's Lycan.
That's Lycan.
The way this composition works, the normal Fortress is that you have very tanky heroes in front to just protect your backline. This Air Fortress term that we came up with for some reason shows heroes in the front that just provide chaos. They're in the front lines, they're doing so much work that you're just distracted the entire time, and then all the while the backline damage is coming through.
So here's my problem though. When you're running a Fortress composition into an Elsu, you need the high HP characters in order to block the snipes more than anything else. You must be able to stop the snipes from hitting your backline. You always have someone with a lot of HP to do that. They don't here. They're going to need to dodge these Elsu snipes or rely on them missing.
Or what you can do is just batter them around so you can't hit the snipes.
I don't think you can get aggressive enough to do that. But it is LATAM, and it is GeO who are the most LATAM of LATAM,
and it's
so they've got aggression.
And it's Lycan. That's a triple aggression on that side.
There's too many exponentials happening right now with the LATAM stacks. I'm just going to say it's way too much for us to have to worry about. But the picks have been decided, the battlefield has been loaded, and it's time for the title weight match. We've got Nova Esports versus GeO in a battle to the top for Latin America.
Will GeO be able to agree? Yep, no, they will. Lycan already scoops 0-8 into Smith's range, attacking him low.
He says, you have the bottom, but Superman is the OG scooper. And we just scoop you right over to our side. Thank you very much.
Baldum's there to scoop people up. Superman's there to make sure they stay there.
Absolutely. Although they're on opposite sides, so I'm not really sure how that works.
Well, it's a contrast. You have the Baldum, but that's a short-term relationship. You get scooped, you leave. You have the Superman, you just keep getting scooped. It never ends.
Until you're inside a tower and dead.
Yeah.
I'd just like to mention that SA overall, typically the mid player on Nova has picked up the Elsu. It works very well because they have a mage in their jungle. They don't have to switch a mage over to the side lane. That's perfectly fine for them.
That does mean, however, that Elsu was being run mid, which we're not typically a huge fan of.
Yeah, but I want to reiterate what I mentioned, though, is that...
Lycan.
Yeah. Oh, snipe. Yeah, good dodge there. But I want to say that the reason why it's bad mid sometimes is because you don't have the mage on the side lane, and that really hurts you.
Elwin does get scooped out, but there's a nice wind cuffs that'll stall out the chase. Naturally, S overall, and Shaka are in trouble now as White pops out for the brush. There's Smith for the kill. Shaka's gone.
It tried to go in for the scoop just to turn that fight around, but no. Smith just snipes him down there with his own bow and arrow.
Nicely done, the penetrating shot from the back line.
And Smith's going to continue to own this matchup as long as, you know, the cleave has a very long range, but not quite as long as Eagle Eye.
The Eagle Eye means that you have to just retreat whenever you see it, but one of the consistent problems that Telenases have into the Elsu is that there is nothing that compares to the range of the snipe, and the late game Elsu can outtrade Eagle Eye.
Well, for now, doesn't have to deal with that Elsu, so it's working perfectly fine for Smith.
Missile Dragon, though, isn't going perfectly fine for Smith. Indeed, it will go to Nova, as the whole team now begins to fold through onto Elwin, barely out of range of that wild charge.
Looks like they're grouping up again.
Oh! White checked that bush!
Hello, checked the bush with his swords, or spears, as it were, but that was actually a great move there by SA overall, because as he used the disengage, he got jumped upon, so he was actually knocked up but out of range already. So it worked out for him in the end.
When you check a bush like that, you sometimes need to hire an archaeologist to figure out if there was anyone there.
Yeah, that could be a good way to do so, even if there's nothing there at the end of it. 08 can also obviously test that as well, as he has the shock to his name. If you ever want to go check bushes for himself.
I've done that. I call them zoning alts, and my teammates yell at me for them.
Nice. They don't know the true value of the zoning alts. That's their issue.
08 may be able to demonstrate it. There's a lot of GeO Esports members down here. Nova have their two beefiest boys though, so they'll stay safe.
I love how Elwin is being very cheeky with these wind cuffs. Just every time he gets near a seagull, just uses it just in case it might snag someone.
This is a tight roaming GeO squad.
Yeah, we've seen this issue in the past where they continue to do this, but I guess they don't want to get caught off by some sort of wild charge into them, so they're going to continue to run it this way so they stay as safe as possible.
And I think they move quick enough that it's not actually the worst thing. The only thing that can punish them is if Lycan goes down, and Lycan does not seem safe behind tower. I apologize, I thought he was. Now he will go down, and that tower actually might join him.
Well, right as we talked about that four-man squad, we saw the downside of it, right? You saw Nova knew exactly what was happening and where they were going, and said, well, if you four are here, that means there's no one top, and we could just kill him, and they just did.
The tower falls up top. Bot lane, pressure comes through. GeO do find an engage, but they've split up to try and answer what's happening up top, and now as a result, they didn't have the players to burst down the tanky character that fought them.
I want to point out that Shaka got the Windstone after getting the boot, so he was a bit behind in getting some of that gold, which means he's not going to have that Ring of the Fiend for quite a while, and that's going to be very important for his side.
One fun support mechanic, though, is Windstone only gives you gold if you've got the lowest gold on the team. So if you buy it a little bit later, it doesn't actually hurt you too badly because you get the gold quickly. Here's the engage for Abyssal, though, to remedy the gold. Becky in trouble. There's the shot through. 08 with the cleave will end his life. Now Smith needs to get out, but White has other ideas. Diving in, no mercy will. Tornado him and find the kill while Shaka scoops in Smith. All the kills over to Nova Esports. Only Shaka to fall and trade, and Elwin's down as well, deep behind tower.
Nova said, why do the casters talk about GeO being able to fight well? Let's just show them our fighting prowess. Oh my goodness, No Mercy turns onto White with that tornado and just takes him out. Now they have all the towers.
Nova will press forward. That's 2 towers off that fight.
Oh my goodness, and that is absolutely massive. Having these 3 towers for the Navy, if you include the top one from earlier, means that they can take these objectives, CJ. They can take the Abyssal, they can take the Darkslayer whenever it comes up, and they are in such a commanding position.
We did talk so much about GeO's prowess in team fights. What's gone wrong?
They have been behind in gold when they took them. It's as simple as that. There's been greater farm on the side of Nova, the greater decision making, especially when they took out like in the top. That started to snowball things, and all of a sudden GeO was playing from a deficit. And TJ, you can't play from a deficit. I'm sorry, unless you completely outplay them, you're gonna fall behind and lose the team fight.
GeO have done that now twice. It's cost them 5 kills. They've only got 2 in response. The gold lead isn't too bad though, all things considered. Your definition of too bad is different from mine.
Yes.
Noted.
5,000 gold is really bad at the 6-minute mark, and I think that Nova can certainly take advantage of this.
I think GeO still have a hope because of their team fight prowess. I think GeO are a side that's going to do better from behind than they will from ahead, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's weird because we talked about the fact that GeO isn't able to finish out games, but they're strangely able to hold on to games because of their ability to play in those team fights and really just switch around and re-engage on the heroes when they feel like they're overextended.
As you've said many times, when you get to the late game, all of a sudden it is all team fights. As Sir Mustard discovers he'll fall, the tower does go down across the map. Nova try and press forward till high grounds go down. That doesn't mean much. They're right. That's a weird commit.
Yeah, that was just miscommunication. Shaka, excuse me, 0-8 went in, but the rest of the team did not.
That was one of those zoning ults.
Very much did. It got the ult out of Elwin as well, so I guess that is some sort of prize that you get.
As I like to call them, TJ ults.
Very good TJ ult from 0-8. I give it a golf clap.
The Abyssal Dragon will go over to Nova Esports, furthering their gold lead. GeO, I was talking up their ability to hold. We'll see that stretched to the limit of the next 5 minutes or so.
Well, the thing is, they were able to get a kill up top, but Nova's response was so good earlier. They were able to get another tower. If they can trade a kill for a tower from now on, they will win the game. Speaking of Nova.
1 kill, 1 tower. That gets a little bit more difficult when you approach high grounds. Those are typically easier to defend because of the short rotate time between them.
Right, Nova has to be just as careful as GeO in these sort of situations. Don't let them back into the game, and that's what they need to make sure they do, is to spread them out so that if they ever get caught, then it's not too big of a deal.
I like that Nova are backing up because this is giving GeO kind of space to make a mistake.
GeO is so good at fighting, though. I don't know if Nova wants to bait them into anything.
Smith almost gets baited into a 1v3. The shock will come through. 0-8 zones it back. That's a tower for free.
That is actually really good zoning out, though. That gets in the tower.
Oh, that's trouble as well. A full commit from White, and he's eaten alive. Meggy will go in, does get the trade. Shark at a full, but they'll take that trade any day of the week, particularly as Elwind almost goes down as well.
Nova's using GeO's aggression against them.
And Lycan's in trouble now, chained in by the Death's Embrace. He will fall.
Oh, so beautiful from Sir Mustard, and he's winning that battle.
Meggy tries to answer back onto 0-8, but it's just not enough.
So beautiful play from Nova here. They are baiting them out and reeling them in, TJ. They're able to take advantage of that aggression from GeO. First take out White, and then they take out Lycan.
Only high ground towers remain now for GeO. I was talking up the team fights. We've hit around the 10-minute mark. That's typically when you start talking about comebacks. Is this possible?
It still is possible because of the fact that GeO can turn seemingly any game around with just a miraculous team fight. It gets extremely hard, though, if you're talking about this Darkslayer.
Yeah, if they don't manage to interrupt this Darkslayer in some way or get something in response, they're in big trouble. They do have an eye towards this enraged, or it won't even be enraged, actually. Yeah. They'll get the Abyssal pre-enraged. It's a little bit of gold back in their pockets, but the Darkslayer's against them.
Yeah, Sir Mustard just checked that out just to make sure they weren't there for the enraged, and he scares all of them away. So this is going to be a great situation here for Nova. This is how Nova EU actually are able to finish out a lot of their games. They get a lead, and then they start working on those high ground towers. Once they get their opponents with very few towers left, it turns into a checkmate situation.
Hey, that's cool. That's an EU Drake summon.
Yeah, that is an EU Drake. I think that Nova EU is rubbing off on Nova LATAM.
You can tell because the Drake speaks with a French accent.
Does it now?
Sir Mustard's keeping an eye on all of GeO as they rotate through the brush. And that Drake summoned all the way back, as is the EU standard, will mean there's the maximum possible time with the empowered minion waves. That means there's longer for GeO to defend and more time for Nova to get other things across the map, such as this enraged Abyssal Dragon.
Speaking of which, I can't believe SA Overall was nearly able to solo it by himself. Obviously, you're able to do that against the Abyssal because you can kite it out, but oh my goodness, so much damage to his name.
5 members for GeO still up, 5 members for GeO still up behind their high grounds.
Yeah, they're gonna have to defend this like no team has ever done before, because look at these mini waves. They're pretty much sinking, though a little bit off right now.
Ooh, those snipes though are beginning to hurt. Look, Vitality Season 1 could do it. GeO Season 3.
Oh, not if you get halved by snipes though.
Yeah, that is rough. Waves are starting to arrive against all 3 towers, perfectly in sync. That is beautiful from Nova. That means they're challenging all 3 towers at the same time. There's almost no way GeO can save all of them, maybe not any of them. They will not save the mid tower. They will keep the bot one alive, but only narrowly, and No Mercy just dives in, removing Smith. Now the shock, 0-8 deep into the back lines. There's no way to turn this. Surely GeO do scoop in so many. The like gets a lot of damage. He will go down. The brawl in the middle takes Shaka low. He does not fall. Now finally dropping, but it's too little, too late, as GeO are out of game 1. Nova up 1-0.
The battle of the heavyweights goes heavily in favor of Nova. What a dominant performance by them. We talked about the fact that they're so good at coming from behind, but who needs to come from behind when you can just finish the game yourself?